Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach v'Hashem aleinu berachamav yarviach. Today we speak about the wife of Rabbi Akiva. And in the end we try to understand what was so important about her. You know, in English you say behind every great man there is a great woman. So we'll see today what was the character trait of Rahel. And I'll give a bit of a background. We spoke about Rabbi Akiva before. I'll give a bit of a background. Who was Rabbi Akiva for us to understand, so it will help us to understand who she was, that great woman. So Rahel was the wife of Rabbi Akiva. She was the daughter of Kalba Savua. Kalba Savua. Kalba Savua is a nickname. It's not his real name. I will explain. I will go step by step. Heftiba, you look a bit worried. Don't worry. I'll try to answer all the questions. And I'll give time also to ask questions. Kalba Savua was a rich man that lived during the time of the Second Temple. He was one of the richest men that lived in Jerusalem during the Second Temple. Who was Kalba Savua? To understand that, we have to go to the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat. The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat in page 147, folio 1, explain to us why they called them Kalba Savua. Kalba Savua is not in Hebrew, it's in Aramaic. I will explain that. Why did they call him like this? And also giving us his name. His name was Yehoshua ben Kapos. That was his name, Yehoshua ben Kapos. Kapos, remember the name. Kalba Savua, if you translate Aramaic to Hebrew, Kalba is a dog, Kelev. Savua, it's a person that's full. He can't eat anymore. A full dog. A dog is not hungry. What kind of a name is that? So the Gemara explained why did they give him that nickname. Not for nothing he been called Kalba Savua. Kalba Savua being called like this because every poor person that used to walk to his house and is hungry like a dog used to leave the house when he's full, not hungry anymore. His house was open 24/7 for poor people to come and eat. And that called Kalba Savua. Rahel was his daughter. Obviously, she came from a very privileged house, very privileged household. She didn't need nothing. She had everything that a person can ask during the time of the Second Temple. Obviously, she didn't have cell phone, she didn't have Wi-Fi, but she had everything that you wanted at that time. Rahel had everything that she wanted. And the Gemara in Masechet Ketubot. Rabotai, I'm going to bring 3 Gemarot from Masechet Bavli, and then I'm going to move to Masechet Yerushalmi in the end. And all of that sources to try to understand who was the father-in-law of Rabbi Akiva, Kalba Savua, who was Rahel, and who was Rabbi Akiva. So the Gemara in Masechet Ketubot, page 62, folio 2, that means Samech Bet, Amud Bet. There the Gemara tells us that Rabbi Akiva, at that time called Akiva, was one of the shepherds that worked for Kalba Savua, for the father of Rahel. And Rahel that lived, can you imagine, in a mansion. She saw that shepherd that had a beautiful character trait. Not only that, that he had exceptional character trait. And one of them, the most important, that he was very modest, very down to earth. And when Rahel saw that, she offered him, and she said to him that she's willing to marry him if he'll study Torah. Hazal tell us that Rabbi Akiva lived for 120. The first 40 years of his life, Rabotai couldn't read, couldn't write. He didn't know the Aleph Bet. 40 years old, cannot read, cannot write, nothing, garnished. When Kalba Savua heard that his daughter planning to marry Akiva at that time, Rabbi Akiva, the greatest sage, obviously they was very upset. There's better shidduch for you. What are you taking that? What can he offer you? He's a shepherd. Rachel was a different woman. Rachel didn't give up. She married him. Her father, Kalba Savua, was so cross that he took an oath that she cannot benefit from his money, from his wealth at all. That means that Rachel, that have everything that she wants in life, in 1 second, turn from the top to the bottom, the poorest person that you can imagine. The Gemara in Masechet Nedarim, page 50, folio 1. Listen what the Gemara tells us. The Gemara tells us that Rabbi Akiva and Rachel was so poor that they didn't have any place to live. They live in a barn. And every morning, Rabbi Akiva used to take the straw for hair. And he used to say to her, if I have money, I will make for you Yerushalayim shel Zahav. That's how the Gemara says. I will explain that he will make for her a crown that made with gold, with the shape of Jerusalem. Yerushalayim shel Zahav. Yerushalayim shel Zahav. Jerusalem of gold. He will make for a special crown. I'll get to it in the end. One night, it was a very cold winter night, they hear a knock on the barn. Rabbi Akiva opened the door. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent Eliyahu Hanavi to them. And Eliyahu Hanavi said to Rabbi Akiva, my wife just given a birth to a baby. Can you lend us a little bit of straw so we can put the baby to cover him? It's too cold. Obviously, Rabbi Akiva given him straw and everything. And the Gemara asked there, why HaKadosh Baruch Hu have to send Eliyahu Hanavi to Rabbi Akiva to ask for straw? The situation of Rabbi Akiva and Rachel was so bad that they have nothing. Imagine living on a barn. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to bring the moral up by how? By showing them that there is poor person, kivyachol, poorer person than them. He sent Eliyahu Hanavi. So Rabotai, I'm going to put a lot of emphasis on about the suffering that Rachel have to put with. And in the end, I will explain why. But still, it's not so simple to take a shepherd that at the age of 40 doesn't know Aleph Bet, cannot read, cannot write. How do you convince a man like this to go and study? How do you send your husband at 40 years old with your child that going to grade 1 to school together? Can you imagine? We never saw that. But the Midrash Agadol tell us a story. Rachel was a smart woman, very smart woman. And she said to Akiva, to Rabbi Akiva, take the donkey, take wet mud, a lot of mud, and rub it over the donkey. Rabbi Akiva done. He knew that he's dealing with a special woman. And he done it. After he done it, Rachel took little seeds and planted in the mud. And she was watering for a few days. After a few days, those seeds turned to sprouts, and sprouts started growing. She said to him, Akiva, take that donkey to the market and see what's happening. So you can imagine a man entering the market and everyone looking at them. What is that? A donkey that grows seed on him? I never saw. And the tumult the first day and everyone talking. And the second day and the third day. But the 4th day, everyone already gets used to it. No one starts speaking. And every day Rachel used to ask Rabbi Akiva, what's happened? And every day he tell her, the first day it was so excitement, many people come to see. The second day a bit less, but was still excitement. The third day was a little bit, not so much. But the fourth day, people get used to it. She said, Rabbi Akiva, listen to what you're saying. On the first day it will be excitement. On the second day it will be excitement. But the fourth day it will be end. He'd say it's the same going to be when you're going to go and study with your son. Everyone might going to laugh on you on the first day. But the fourth day everyone will get used to you. And Akiva gone. And he studied. We see from here that Rachel was a special woman. She knew how to convince a man in the age of 40 or even more to go and study. The Gemara in Masechet Ketubot continue and tell us in page 62, folio 2, when Akiva start to studying before he became Rabbi Akiva, she sent them to study for 12 years in a yeshiva. 12 years, that means he doesn't come home. For 12 years he doesn't see home. Rabbi Akiva gone to study for 12 years, Torah. Now imagine, who's going to provide? No one to provide. Rachel didn't give up. Her father, Kalba Savua, took an oath. It's not so simple. He can't. He sees his daughter suffering. He can't do nothing. Rachel used to grow up a hair and used to sell it. We'll get to it also later on in the Yerushalmi. You can imagine what life of poverty for 12 years. After 12 years, Rabbi Akiva coming home. And when he come home, he was behind the wall and he heard an old man speaking to his wife. And that old man was a wicked man. And he said to Rachel like this, look at you. You like a widow without a husband. Your husband left you. Gone to study Torah. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about the kids. Where's the providing? Look how you live, poverty. Look how poor you are. Rabbi Akiva keep quiet, doesn't say a word. Rachel, that was a special woman, you know what she said to that man? I wish that he can hear me. If he can hear me, may please God he'll stay for another 12 years and study. Rabbi Akiva didn't say a word, turned around, walked back to study for another 12 years. The Gemara asks, Chazal asks, why did Rabbi Akiva didn't go and knock on the door? My wife, I didn't see you for 12 years, my children. He didn't enter. Chazal answered like this, that if you want to get a sage like Rabbi Akiva, you can't go and say hello. That he turned back, and he gone back without saying hello. That's what made him really Rabbi Akiva, the greatest sage. The greatest sage that we have. That during the count of the Omer we mourn for his 24 students that died. 24,000. Rabbi Akiva, after 12 years, another 12 years, returned back. That means 24 years, Rabotai, he wasn't at home. The wife didn't see him. The children didn't see him. As a matter of fact, he doesn't almost recognize his children. He doesn't know who they are. The children doesn't recognize their father. Whatever they remember, it was 20 years ago. We don't understand that. It's not for our level. That's why we're not in the level of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva, everyone heard.
How old was he then if he married Rachel?
80. Rabbi Akiva, he wasn't 80. He was in the age close to 70. Work it out. He was 40, 45 when he left. Another 24 years in the 70s.
So it was 5 years after he got married, he went to yeshiva.
Plus minus, because he still have to learn Torah. You know, he have the kids. The son have to go to the Heider, grade 1 I call it, but it's not grade 1. You know what I'm saying? He was in his 70s. He was in his 70s when he come back. When Rabbi Akiva come back, Hazal tell us, 24,000 students marching behind him. Rabota, you don't understand that. 24,000 students behind him. Everyone here that Rabbi Akiva coming back to Yerushalayim. One of the famous richest person was his father, as I mentioned. Everyone wanted to see the great sage, Rabbi Akiva. Everyone wanted to get a brocha. But it's not simple. These 24 students, everyone protecting him. Everyone singing. You can imagine. So, Kal Basavua is the rich man, you know, money buy everything. Okay, he managed to come to speak. He said to Rabbi Akiva, I need to speak to you. I have a problem. He said, speak. Rabbi Akiva recognized his father-in-law. His father-in-law didn't recognize him because his father-in-law, looking at his son-in-law as a shepherd, that's what he remembered. He said, and what can I help you, mister? He didn't tell him that he knows he is. He said, I have a daughter that she married to one of my shepherds. And I took an oath that she will never benefit from my money or from my wealth. And I regret it. I want to do a atonement of the vow. Rabbi Akiva said to him, okay. Do you really regret it? He said, yes. Rabbi Akiva said, I'll ask you a question. If you would know that that man that she married will be a Talmid Hacham, will you support her? Will you take that oath? He said, never. I will never take that oath. I will never put her in that position. I said, okay. Tell me, if she would marry a man in my level, he said, if she would marry a man in your level, I will give her half of my wealth. I will give them. He said, are you sure? He said, yeah. He said, I'll tell you, I'm your son-in-law. I'm Akiva that you remember. He said, in that case, you have a half of my wealth. And the Hazal say, that's how Rabbi Akiva start to get rich. That's one of the three things of Rabbi Akiva who become wealth. There's other story for Rabbi Akiva. So, now, Rabbi Akiva continue with his house. He come to see his wife, his kids. What's happening? Where's my kids? You can imagine 24,000 students, plenty men walking with the rabbi. And suddenly they see a lady with shoes that, if you consider it shoes, staring clothes, staring shoes, broken. And everyone's trying to push her aside. Lady, it's not a place for women here. It's only for men. It's the great rabbi. And they didn't give her a chance to talk, and they're pushing her aside, and this one pushing her. But she's determined. Until Rabbi Akiva suddenly saw what's happening. And he lifted up his hand. And he said to everyone become quiet. He said, let her come. Let her come. And he said to them, the Torah that I have and the Torah that you have, that's her Torah. The Torah that I merit to learn and the Torah that I merit to teach you all here, it's her Torah. Please respect her. Let her come. That's Rachel. Obviously, Rachel came. Everyone was shocked. The Gemara in Yerushalmi, Masechet Shabbat, in Perek Daf. That's the name of the Perek. It's called Daf. In page 42, folio 1, the Gemara tells us a story. That Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, the wife saw that Rabbi Akiva, after he became rich, he make the crown from gold what he promised his wife. And the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat in Yerushalmi, in page 42, folio 1, the Gemara say that Rabban Gamliel, that was the Nasi in that time, said to him, tell me, Rabbi Akiva made his wife a crown with the shape of Jerusalem made from gold. What did you make for me? She was jealous. Rabban Gamliel answered like this. Listen what he said to her. He said to her, tell me, did you cut your hair that I can study Torah? Did you live the life of poverty that I can study Torah? She didn't have an answer. So he didn't give her a crown of gold. But Rabotai, that's not the end. What do we learn from here? Sorry? Brian, yes?
That. Who's the person who queried that?
The wife of Rabban Gamliel. She was jealous of the wife of Rabbi Akiva, Rachel, because you remember that I mentioned that he promised her if he'll be rich, he'll make for a crown made of gold. But Hazal said that that's not the end. I didn't want to tell you. He made for her a special bed made from gold to consecrate for all the 24 years. Sorry, I'm almost crying. Sorry. Akon here? No, I'm okay. I'm just, because I'm so attached to it, I'm almost crying. I'm trying to hold my tears. Rabota, why am I telling you that story? Why is it so important, Rachel? We know that behind every successful man have to be a special woman. To have Rabbi Akiva, no one going to be judged here. Why are you not Rabbi Akiva? Everyone going to be judged. Why are you not yourself? When I go to Shamayim, they say, David Levy, or David Ben Zion Levy, why you wasn't yourself? They're not going to charge me why I wasn't Rabbi Akiva, Moshe Rabbeinu. But why am I telling you all of this? Because I want you to spread the message. And there is a very important message. I don't know how many of you know the rates of divorce in this country for the youngsters, amongst the Jews.
Yeah.
Why?
Very high.
Very high. Why? Because women, they think that we China. Today everything is so cheap. It doesn't work, throw it, buy a new one. Women and husband and wife not willing to put enough effort to work on their marriage. That message is for the young couple to understand that sometime in life, not only the physical thing that we have is important. Rachel, that have everything that she wants in life, she put it aside. She suffered for 26, 27 years before Rabbi Akiva gone, before he start learning. If not, 5, 6 years before. So 30 years she suffered poverty, but she never gave up. And today, a little bit trouble between the couple. He doesn't earn enough, or she doesn't. She's not organizing the house properly, or whatever. It's easier. Let's break out. What about the kids that's suffering from it? I'll tell you a story that I never told anyone for many years. I have a friend that grown up with me in the same class. We was in the same yeshiva. I don't want to mention who he is because you will know. When we was 45, his parents divorced. He was already married with children. He took it so badly that he collapsed. And one day I get a phone call, can we meet for coffee? I said, sure. Where are you? No, wherever. We're going to meet for coffee. And he told me the story. So what I'm trying to say, people think that it's easy, let's break out, let's go, divorce. Work out on your marriage. Learn a little bit. I'm not expecting you to live 30 years of poverty, but work on your marriage. This is not China that you can change toys. And Hazal tell us, קשה זיווגם של ישראל כקריעת ים סוף. That the matchmaking to find a wife, it's as hard of splitting of the sea. It hurt me so much when I hear that couple just divorcing. What is that? What is that? You changing socks? What is it? Work a bit on your marriage. What are you losing? Rachel, over 30 years of poverty, she never gave up. So put a little bit. You're not going to live life of poverty. No one lives a life of poverty, Baruch Hashem, today. No one. I didn't hear Jewish couple living in a barn. So work on your marriage a bit. Give up a bit effort. From both sides. I'm not speaking only to the woman or only to the man. To both. Be'ezrat Hashem, I hope that that message will help many couples to understand who was Rachel and to try to adopt a bit of her character trait. To understand the thing in life sometimes get too difficult. Sitting on the rocks. But it doesn't mean that we have to fall off the rocks. We have to learn how to survive it and how to put the effort. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we shall never hear anymore divorce amongst the Jewish people. We should only hear about good news. Yes?
Rabbi Akiva, I heard the story that he saw water hitting a rock and he said, kept hitting himself.
Yeah, so the show wasn't about Rabbi Akiva, but you're asking. So what's happened? How did make Rabbi Akiva to understand that he can study in the age of 40? So he was walking and he saw that the drip of water dripping on a stone. And that stone, from all the drip, from every drip, start making a cave, like a small dip. And he said, if a water can penetrate a stone, I can study. You follow? But the show is not about Rabbi Akiva because I explained it. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we should all merit to try to adopt the character trait of Rachel. Every woman will have it. Every man also should be strong and not to look only about the physical thing in life. There's other things. Yes, right.
One thing is, I was inspired. I was in Tiberias, and I met somebody there when I went to Rabbi Akiva's grave. And this guy actually took me around, myself and my wife around. And he took me and said, the amazing thing is people come here and they look at all the great people and they never go to Rabbi Akiva's wife, Rachel's grave. And he took me to the grave over there and to the memorial there, which is very close to it's on the waterfront, it's not on the hill, which is relatively close where the swimming pool is over there.
The public swimming pool.
The public swimming pool.
In Tiberias.
And I was so impressed and incredible because I never knew the story at all. And as you said, there were tears in my eyes when I read through and I took the photographs over there with my wife. And I said to him, I would just like to hear a shirt just because to get a little bit more of the actual details. I just want to say thank you very much.
Sure.
Because you expressed yourself incredibly well, as you always do. It's made it even more interesting, so thank you for that.
Sure.